Asia Gooden, and I'll be presenting about violence in rural and versus urban communities, and the different issues that they go through, the different way violence affects each community, and as long as different resolutions and policies and programs in place to try to combat this issue. So there are some social issues that plague rural issues a little bit differently than those in urban issues. Some of them are there's a lack of access to quality healthcare and support services. There are poor educations. There are very limited jobs due that these are mostly agricultural family based companies. Not companies, it's just employment, and then there are unreported crimes. So there is a lack of saying that like what crimes are getting committed, and the reason for this is that a lot of these crimes are done and committed towards people within the community, either family, close friends, or people that people have known for their entire lives, several generations. Um, so this is the reason why um, these social issues are present and prevalent and keep happening in rural communities because they don't have the access to certain programming that those who live in urban communities do. And then the crime in rural communities occur. They're violent, but um, violent crimes tend to be towards more of the assault, both physical and sexual, along with um, some murder that does happen within either close family members, spouses or children. Unfortunately, um, so a reason for this is because people are in close proximity, fighting for resources. The same thing that happens along in urban communities is just not spoken as much about in rural communities. So a way to combat this is to add more adequately trained law enforcement, and those who making these policies and the lawmakers need to be more trained in the likelihood of those who um, live in these communities. So policies in place. There aren't a lot of published policies. However, there I found that a few were the one called the Coordinated Community Response, or CCR. It was done in California, and this is basically a coalition that was formed to help combat against community-related violence in rural areas, to provide health care, community groups, crime watching, more social workers, social service, entities to accept to help women who have been victims of domestic violence. So I feel as though things this could be more protected to community violence as a whole in rural areas, saying that these communities are more family and community based and more close knit, so they're more helpful to help more inclined to help others within their community. So community-centered approaches are what's best for rural areas because they're more concentrated in their communities. So also something that'll be more helpful is to have certain programs for the youth. It would help support them those who have been victim and those who have been exposed to, who have been victim, they've witnessed and been exposed to certain crimes. These support groups will help them understand what's going on, their feelings, the actions, anything they need support for. And also, these could help combat against this type of behavior. These children could learn better coping mechanisms. They can get access to more training and education so they could then turn and put that back into their community so they themselves can stop doing this and then it could continue on further after. Um, More advocacy for this. I would advocate for more officials who are from these types of areas to go into these areas and then help them out. People who understand what's going on in these type of communities are better at helping these type of communities, in my opinion, because people are more willing to trust those who are they know because they come from that area or they come from similar backgrounds. Um, More money given to rural areas will help them a lot. More jobs, more schooling, so they can then have way to better have income and then support themselves and their families. And then crime in rural and urban communities. So some social issues that occur in these communities are unemployment, high crime and drug usage rates, inadequate school systems along with rural areas, limited housing options, and these communities are comprised of people who are either fully African American, predominantly African American, or ethnically mixed. So they be African American, Latino, Native American. It's just more diverse in the sense. Um, and these areas are also fighting for different resources, which commits to crime because people are a lot of the time are robbery, assault, um, sometimes even murder and sexual assault are done. People in urban settings are more likely to see, experience, and report violent crimes than their rural counterparts because they know they have the resources more available to them. Another reason for reading that rural um, communities do not report crimes because it's something done by a family member, a loved one, or someone that they know in the community. In a urban setting, it's not. That's not likely to be the case. Law enforcement officials in these settings to help this from being to help this become prevented can be more trained in sensitivity and cultural training. Um, I'll explain more about that, but that'll definitely help with the amount of those who are committing violent crimes or being victims of violent crimes. Policies for urban areas. There are plenty of ways to combat violent crimes in urban areas. A way to do that is create policy and programs geared toward lessening violent behaviors and crimes. If we do put more money in initiatives and prevention than versus punishment, things are people to turn around and be more likely to be in the more favorable account, which is preventative and crimes lessening. Another way be cleaning, rehabbing older buildings and homes to give people housing, more affordable housing, and that's within the community. Give them that purpose of they restored and cleaned up the community. That gives more purpose and that lessens crime. Um, Youth focused programs and activities to give children more options to not commit crimes, to not do the things that they see their peers doing, to not become, overwhelmed by the peer pressure and become products of their environment. And then another way to that have been proven to lower crimes in certain areas is to have higher taxes. States and cities um, raising their taxes on alcohol, which a lot of crimes are done when people are under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And even though drugs are illegal, can't tax them. So you can tax alcohol heavily or close alcohol or liquor stores completely or have them closed certain days of the week. Like in some states, you cannot buy alcohol on Sundays. I'm from Indiana. Previously, we cannot buy alcohol on Sundays. Now that we can, and then I live very close to Illinois, you can always buy it there, but they have it between you can only buy it after 12 and you can't buy it after 8. So that limits the more crimes that are committed with those who are under the influence. see that needs to continue to happen within urban areas are there needs to be more money for schooling, community centers, community initiatives, things that give people the power in their communities and what happens to them. That I believe would help lower crime. So giving people their power back, giving them the opportunity to make the changes and show them that they don't have to fight and do the violent acts just to get what they need. Instead of charging or incriminating those who live in these areas and commit violent crimes, there could be restorative and rehabilitative justice versus just strict charge and incriminate and imprison people. Um, this would show people that there is a way out of this behavior, that they don't always have to, commit crime. They're always going to go straight to prison or straight to jail. This thus ends the cycle of violence and crime in communities. And if I could critique or add or change anything about policies that are done in urban and rural communities, it is just that we really need people who are writing their policies to be those who have lived in the areas, who know the areas, who know the challenges that people face in these communities. I've never lived in a rural area and I can't say that, oh, okay, these people need X, Y, and Z because I've never lived. I don't know the experiences. I just know secondhand from hearing from people and research I've done. I've never lived there, so I wouldn't feel personally that I can be the one to say these communities need this X, Y, Z without me going to live in them. I live in urban communities. I know more about what they need and the wants and needs of these communities that are more effective, that'll help start change and things of that nature. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.